It's time for you to get the ultimate voiceover sound with my real-time Neumann U87 AI and Apollo Twin X chain, featuring the SSL 4000E, Neve 1073, and the Teletronix LA-2A for final limiting. No bulky racks, no fuss, just great-sounding audio processing right inside the box. If you're a voiceover artist looking to upgrade your studio setup, this is the video you've been waiting for. If you've not met me before, I'm Mike Russell from Music Radio Creative, an Adobe Certified expert with 15 plus years on my YouTube channel. My mission is to give you the highest level of audio and video education. Whether you're a voiceover artist, a podcaster, audio producer, all of the tutorials on my channel will help you get a great sound. If you've not done so already, throw a like and subscribe so that I can bring you more videos just like this one. Let's dive right in. Now, if you've got the Apollo Twin X or anything similar, you can purchase plugins for it. In fact, what you're listening to now is running through all of this chain to give you the highest quality audio possible for voiceover. So let's have a look. We've got a Unison plugin, and then we've got a couple of inserts. Unison is real-time, low latency. Inserts also very low latency, but allow you to add some extra processing. This all happens, by the way, on device, so there's no need for you to have bulky plugins running on your computer or a 19-inch rack behind you with DBX processors. It can all be done with this, and this has been my setup for a while. I've been meaning to share this with you, so let's get right in. Let's start with the first thing. This is the SSL 4000E channel strip, Solid State Logic, a great British company that really know how to process audio. So let's go through everything I've got here so that you can set it up yourself. Now, you've got the line knob, which changes the line level signal. Now, we're not taking a line in, we're taking a microphone in, which is why I've adjusted this. And for my Neumann U87 AI, I have turned it down. So it's pointing essentially at 9 o'clock over here. This works perfectly for me. And you can see I've also got 48-volt phantom power running to it as it's a condenser mic. You don't need to worry about any of these buttons here, although I will give a shout out to the XFMR button, which is pressed in for me because it engages transformer coloration. Whatever that means, it basically gives a bit of analog warmth to your audio. But let's move on to what you're here for and start with dynamics. This is the compression of your audio. And we've got a few knobs here that we can twist. So we've got the ratio knob, which is currently at a ratio of 2. It essentially controls how aggressively the compressor reduces the volume of your voice. And you can see that happening right here as this little 3 dB reduction light switches on my compressor. That's more than enough for me. Again, threshold is set at around -15 for me, and this determines the point at which compression starts. So if I go louder than 15 dB, or -15 dB I should say, that's when it starts to cut my audio down a little bit. And then over here, we've got attack and release. And the only things you really need to know here is it's set to F attack, which is fast attack. As a voiceover, you want to reduce those peaks as quickly as possible. So have that lit up and have that enabled. And then you've got a release knob, which controls how soon the compressor releases the signal once it's compressed it down. And again, for voiceover, I would highly recommend you have that set to really, really fast. So essentially, to summarize, we've got a ratio of 2 to 1, threshold of -15, fast attack, and release dialed all the way to the left for a very fast release. Next, we move on to a bit of gating. Essentially, when I'm quiet, this will reduce the background noise, which is particularly good for voiceover, especially when you're doing things like audiobooks. Look, when I go quiet, yes, that gate comes on. And when I speak, it comes back. And the moment I start to get quiet, it goes on. It's pretty snappy. I think you'll agree. So how have I dialed this in? Well, I've got the range, which sets essentially how much the gate takes the noise down after the signal goes below the threshold. And here is my threshold. I've set this between -12 and -20. My studio is pretty quiet, and also I'm quite close to my microphone. If you were further from your microphone, you'd need to take that threshold over to the left a bit. But for me, I've found about this setting right here looks pretty good. Also, we've got the range set between 20 and 30, so about 25 here works well for me. Then we've got attack and release, just like with compression. Again, we want a fast attack, so that gate closes quickly. and then the release to be a little bit slower so we get a more natural noise gate in the background. You'll also see we've got dynamics in, that means compression is working. We've got expander in, which means the gate or the expander if you prefer is working, and comp in, which is compression in. That's these dynamics all working here to compress me. Finally, you'll find at the bottom, right here, we've got 3 buttons. Done in basically enables these other 2 buttons, and it allows expander, which is your gate, essentially getting rid of the background noise to work, and comp in is compressor in, allowing the compression buttons to work there. So first of all, you need to have done in working to have these 2 working, and you have both of these enabled to enable the expander and the compressor. Filters we can leave as is, we don't need to touch that. And next we'll move on to the EQ. Okay, so let's start at the top and work our way down. First of all, we've got HF for high frequencies, the very highest frequencies. And you'll see I'm boosting just a little bit at around 7.5 kilohertz to give myself a bright, crisp, nice sound. We've also got HMF, which is high mid frequencies. I'm reducing those a little bit at just under 6,000 hertz, or 6 kilohertz if you like. That's where the sibilance range is on my microphone and in my voice, so I'm taking that out, doing a little bit of de-essing there with the HMF. And of course, you can choose here what kind of curve you want, whether you want it to be tight or wide. Well, for a de-esser, I want that curve to be tight, just to pull out those bad frequencies I don't need. Hope this is making sense. Let's move on to the lower frequencies in the voice. Okay, we've got low mid frequencies. Again, we're reducing here around about 200 hertz, maybe just above, and we're making this a bit wider so those muddy, boxy frequencies are getting removed from my voice using this setup right here. And then the low frequencies boosting a tiny bit because everyone likes a deep boomy voice. So I've boosted just a tiny bit here at around the 100 hertz area. You'll also see, like before, we've got equalizer settings and buttons. EQ in enables all of these dials above, so we need that pressed. We don't need the middle one pressed, but I do like to press pre-done, which essentially means before the dynamics do the EQ first. So we could get into a whole video and debate on whether you should EQ first or compress first. I like to EQ first and then put the compressor on because it flattens out my voice and essentially keeps it nice and uniform. But others, in particular musicians and perfectionists, like to do the EQing last to get the purest sound. I'll let you decide what to do, but suffice to say, whatever you decide to do, you can choose pre-din like me or have this one off if you prefer. And that's really it for the SSL 4000E channel strip. You'll see I leave the fader here at neutral, output at neutral, and it just works perfectly on my Universal Audio Apollo Twin X. Next, we'll move on to the Neve 1073 if you want the best in British compression and sound shaping. Yes, it's brilliant. You'll notice there's a theme here in using a lot of British plugins. It may be because I am British and from the UK, but also they just make absolutely brilliant sounds on this Neumann U87AI, in my opinion. And you'll see that I've got the gain here, this first dial, set to a pretty neutral position. No need to change this very much. Now, where this really gets interesting is where we have 3 different knobs here that we can use. Well, actually 4 if you count this blue one at the bottom. So we've got high frequencies, mid frequencies, and low frequencies. Now you'll see, first of all, on the very high end, I'm reducing a little bit, just to cut down some of the brightness that came in via the SSL, so that we're not going too bright and sibilant. Next up, we're shaping the mid-range for clarity and weight, and we're boosting it just a tiny bit at 0.7 kilohertz. That gives a bit of added clarity to the voice. And finally, over here on the low frequencies, just below 60 hertz or so, we're doing a slight bit of reduction. You could almost say that's a high-pass filter, but it's ever so tiny. Of course, any more high-pass filter that needs to be added can be done by a producer in post-production, but this Neve 1073 really helps to shape it. Yes, but there is a high-pass filter, and that's what the blue knob is doing here. Now again, we've got some numbers we can choose. 50 hertz is pretty light, 80 hertz is where I like to be, 160 hertz, you start to cut into some of the low-end frequencies, so I prefer to leave that to the discretion of whoever's producing my voice, and 300 hertz, you'll start to sound like you're on the phone, so leave that well alone. And that's really it for the Neve 1073, so we've moved on to the Teletronix LA-2A leveling amplifier. You'll see the needle on it moves ever so slightly when I talk. If I shout, and it moves quite a lot because it's essentially limiting my voice. And that's all I'm using it as, just a limiter. So you've got compression mode or limit mode. I leave that on limit. And essentially it catches those extra transients, those extra peaks that got through in my voice before the final recording. So it's really simple to set up. We've got a gain knob here that boosts the output volume after compression. So we just boost the output a little bit. And then for peak reduction, that sets how much we are compressing any audio that comes in. I've set that to 25, which is perfectly fine. Meter selector, we leave absolutely up at the top in neutral position. And the power obviously needs to be on for it to work. And that's really it. That's my voiceover chain right now using the Universal Audio Apollo Twin X and the UAD console that can essentially set all those plugins. I recommend the Solid State Logic SSL 4000E, the Neve 1073, and the Teletronix as well. The LA-2A Silver is a great final limiter for your audio before it hits a producer. I really hope this has helped you, and if it has done, throw a like and subscribe for more videos just like this one. There will be a blog post, by the way, that accompanies this video, so if you want to get the exact screenshots of all the plugins that I've mentioned in this video, go and click that link down below and you'll be able to go and see it. And YouTube is showing a video on your screen that you should watch next. Thanks for watching.